Well, good evening, Central Louisiana. First Alert meteorologist Jake Lambright here. We've got a lot to talk about when it comes to Saturday's storms. So I want to focus a little bit first on the storm survey information we got from yesterday's storms for just a moment. We're going to talk about the First Alert weather day and what to expect tomorrow, and then I'm going to show you that First Alert 10-day forecast. Probably going to keep things a little more brief than usual today, but let's go ahead and hop right into it. Here's a look at storm surveys so far from the December 26th storms. So don't worry, I'm going to zoom these in for you here in just a moment. The National Weather Service has confirmed 3 tornadoes here in central Louisiana that touched down yesterday evening and last night. You may recall we were on the air just before 6 p.m. for a tornado warning in portions of Sabine and Natchitoches Parish. We did have an EF1 tornado on the ground for a brief time there right over the Texas state line. You can see this tornado actually stayed over the Toledo Bend for a little while and then eventually moved into rural portions of Sabine Parish that are actually so far out in the country that we can't quite get the road names for those just yet. But this stayed just to the west of Louisiana Highway 191 and lifted before it actually reached that highway. The other 2 confirmed tornadoes were in our central parishes. The first one here in Vernon Parish. A confirmed tornado occurred just northeast of Fullerton, and then it crossed over Louisiana Highway 463. That was a storm that we were on the air for again last night. And then the second one was that second confirmed tornado that was in Rapides Parish. It moved just to the east of Seeper along Louisiana 465 near Walding. This started just to the south of Louisiana Highway 465, just north of Dixie Church Road, and then traveled up a little bit more toward or through Ian Johnson Road and eventually lifted just to the north of Cuts Road. Again, that's in rural portions of Rapides Parish, just to the south of Hemp Hill there along 28 West. In fact, I actually went out to portions of that area earlier today and saw the damage. There were a few structures that were damaged, and if you do want to see kind of that bird's eye view of the tornado path and the damage that occurred in that area earlier today, you can view those photos and video over on my Facebook page. Now, today overall was a nicer day, but we've got more storms on the way tomorrow. That's why there's a First Alert weather day in effect here across all of central Louisiana. Tomorrow's storm threat actually is a little bit higher than what we saw yesterday. Yesterday we had that slight risk level 2. We're up to a level 3 enhanced risk, and that's out of scale of 1 to 5. So level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for tomorrow. Again, looking at all hazards, but this setup is going to be a little bit different, and the modes of severe weather also are going to vary just a little bit more. But everything's on the table tomorrow: damaging winds, tornadoes, and hail. We'll break that threat down a little bit more for you here in just a second. Right now, I've got that First Alert weather day from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Might have to pull that timing a little bit earlier as storms could begin to fire up around sunrise on Saturday. That being said, though, right now, I'm not sold on those being strong to severe at that point, but I'll walk you through that forecast here in just a moment. There's an expanded view of that enhanced risk. It doesn't impact just us here in central Louisiana. It includes northeast Louisiana, it includes Jackson, Mississippi, Meridian, even includes western Alabama. So if you've got friends and family to the east of us in that area that you see there in orange or even yellow, you might want to go ahead and give them a heads up that some nasty weather could be on the way tomorrow, and it's going to be important to stay weather aware. Now let's break down the different threats. The tornado threat is going to be a medium threat on a low to high scale. So it's not going to be the lowest we've ever seen. It's not going to be super high, but this is a little bit more of a concerning threat. You will see a medium threat there over all of central Louisiana and those black lines there across that yellow shading. What those black lines mean is that there's a significant chance. Basically breaking that down for you, that means that there is the chance for an isolated strong tornado or 2. So widespread strong tornadoes not expected. We could see several tornadoes, but 1 or 2 of those could be on the stronger side with the ingredients that we've got in our atmosphere tomorrow. The wind threat is also on the medium side of things for central Louisiana, and the hail threat tomorrow isn't quite as high, but it is still one to watch pretty closely, especially with isolated storms, which we could have quite a lot of tomorrow, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. Let's walk through that forecast right now on Futurecast. By tomorrow morning, 5 to 6 a.m. is when we could see the first of the showers and storms develop. Again, not sold that these will be severe by this point, but the threat's also not going to be zero. Storm energy just won't be that high by this point. Then by 8 to 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, you see those isolated storms continuing as they move off to the northeast. And the one thing to note here with these isolated storms is that they pose a higher threat for larger hail and also tornadoes. And again, if we see stronger tornadoes, it's more likely than not going to be out of these isolated storms that we see tomorrow. Those continue 10 o'clock tomorrow morning and even into the afternoon. It's not until later in the day that we finally see that main line of storms get a little bit closer as we head towards 5 to 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. The good news is I think our severe threat wraps up by 7 to 8 o'clock at the latest, which would be good news. I don't want another overnight severe weather threat, and I know pretty much everybody watching is right there with me on that one. The storms last night lasted a little bit too long into the night, so at least we're getting this over with during the daytime hours. I'm going to take things back here for just a second. We're looking at storm energy right now, and storm energy isn't everything. There's a lot of other ingredients in our atmosphere that have to line up for severe weather, but you do notice that storm energy isn't zero early in the morning, which is why I'm saying that threat, if storms develop at 5 to 6 a.m., that severe threat isn't going to be zero. It's going to be low, but it won't be zero. Then by the time we get to, let's say, 9 to 10 o'clock, you can tell by those orange and yellow contours, and I would ignore the numbers here. That's something we really use behind the scenes to gauge the energy. You can tell by those orange and yellow contours that we're starting to see a moderate amount of storm energy move into the area, definitely more than what we were working with yesterday. That's certainly in full force by the time we get to the afternoon hours. This is a look at things at noon, starting to see some darker colors in there, indicating even higher amounts of storm energy. And then by the time we get to, like I said, 7 o'clock, storm energy pretty much to zero. We'll see those storms finally move out of the region, and things should quiet down, not just for one day this time, but for the next 5 to 6 days at least. As far as rainfall totals go, we could pick up anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain. Locally, higher and lower amounts of rainfall will be possible, so not everybody will be guaranteed to see that 1 to 2 inches of rain. Here's a look real quick at storm reports over the last 36 hours. We got some wind damage reports out of Sabine, Natchitoches, and Beauregard Parish, and then those tornado reports out of Vernon and Rapides. And again, I just recapped those storm surveys, and be on the lookout for an article with more details on those here in the future. Things right now aren't looking too bad there from our Marksville camera. Things are nice and clear, but that will change as we go into the overnight hours and into tomorrow. Cloud cover expected to increase around midnight tonight, and then again, those showers and storms begin to move in as early as tomorrow morning. Once this loads, we'll get a quick check here of your First Alert 7-day forecast. Again, I know I've said it a million times, but tomorrow is a First Alert weather day. It's going to be important to stay prepared. Hopefully, these storms are not as strong as we anticipate. Hopefully, there's some ingredient in the atmosphere that just doesn't come together. But right now, we do believe that those ingredients will come together. We believe there's a pretty significant threat for severe weather and the potential for numerous severe storms across the area tomorrow. So you're going to want that free First Alert weather app. Again, below me here right now on the live stream, you can scan that code right now to download the First Alert weather app for free on both iPhone and Android. You can get alerts whether you want to know if heavy rain's approaching your location, lightning is nearby, or you can turn those off and just have your severe weather alerts on. That's a great thing. You can really customize that. But again, definitely recommend you having that app now and being prepared as we go into tomorrow. We'll continue posting updates here on KALB.com, on Facebook, on our KALB First Alert weather app as they're needed throughout the day today and tomorrow as those storms arrive. And again, we'll give you the first alert as new information comes in. Thank you for joining me this evening, and I'll see you back here tonight at 6 and 10 with your latest weather update.